Welcome to Acts of Awakening, a series of heartfelt conversations about the roles that we play, the masks that we wear, and the archetypes we embody. Acts of Awakening is a play place to unpack the moments in life that call us to change roles and dissolve masks, individuating us into the next version of ourselves. Together, we will explore the perspective of the cosmic play, inspiring soulful insights and a deeper understanding of the journey of becoming. Host Suri Sawyer is a certified death doula, Reiki healer, yoga guide, ancestral medicine practitioner, and multidimensional psychic. As a walking transmission, equal parts cosmic mirror, soul whisperer, and multidimensional midwife, she embodies the energy of a lucid dream, soft yet activating, grounded yet infinite. Suri weaves shadow and light without fear. Her essence feels like plant medicine incarnate. Her presence initiates recalibration and an invitation into introspection, remembrance, and sacred revolution. Now here's your host, Suri Sawyer.
Good day, beautiful, beautiful people. It is wonderful to be here with you on this Wednesday. And just so as we're getting started, you guys can write in for me open if you feel so inclined. Today, I'll be offering emotional release as well as some multidimensional healing. So if you feel open to participating, you can let me know, and I'll come back to that in a few moments. Hello, Sherry. Hello, Mandy. Hello, Maria. Hello, Krish. Thank you guys all for being here. So if you would like to receive an emotional clearing today, as well as multidimensional healing, you can write open in the comments and I will come over to you in a moment. In the meantime, I wanted to speak on the fortification of the inner being. Okay, good. I'm seeing some opens come through. This is exciting. The fortification of the inner being. So this is a little bit of a collective reading before we enter into private readings. And the idea of us being inside and sharing together a collective consciousness. So within our collective consciousness, we experience ourselves as a separate individual cell within the greater oneness, within the greater wholeness of existence. And within our collective consciousness right now, for innumerable reasons, you can imagine it being like a chaotic place. There's like a storm. There's a tempest raging in the collective consciousness. Some of the feelings that are creating the winds and the tossing waters: fear, anxiety, not being certain of what the future holds, not being certain of our role and position and how to navigate the complexities of what's occurring currently. And as an individual cell within this water of the collective consciousness, imagine being in a boat as the storm is raging. To try to calm the storm surely will not work, but to fortify your own boat is the aspect to focus on. So how do I fortify my being? How do I fortify my inner self? How do I sit in the seat of my authority? How do I sit in my body? As ideas and news and different things are flying all around, essentially threatening to destabilize the nervous system and to fill the mind with lower vibrational thoughts, which high vibrational, low vibrational, kind of a funny conversation unto itself, because at some point it's just harmony. But lower vibrating thoughts are things like fear, anxiety, and depression. So the system, the body, will generate a feeling, fear, anxiety, and then the mind wants to attach it to an idea. Likewise, we can hear an idea and then induce the body into a certain feeling state. So I'd like to offer this little practice, if you will, to allow yourself to come back into the center of you when it feels like the world is coming in like a chaotic storm of information. So let us practice it. So if you're in a position to be able to close your eyes and just sit and breathe, and if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, you are more than welcome to do this with your eyes open. It's just a sweet little experiment. For this breath, focus on just the inhale and feel it come in through the mouth or the nose. And then for this moment, focus solely on the exhale. Focus on the inhale, feel the breath entering, feel how it shifts the chest and the belly. And for this moment, focus on the exhale, the air passing through the mouth or nose, and how it affects the chest and belly. Now, using the voice inside your head, say, hello, 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 hello. Allow it to say, hi, how are you today? Just that inner dialogue. And now shift your awareness to listening to just the sounds around you in the environment. And then shift back to the voice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Using the voice inside your head. Take a deep breath in. A little sigh, release of an exhale. And a deep breath in. And a sigh and an exhale. If your eyes are not already, you can open your eyes. In listening to the inner voice and then the outer environment, the question is, who is listening? When you're listening to the inner voice inside your mind, who hears that, or what part of you hears it? When you're listening to the outer environment, the sound comes in, and then who is listening to it? Try it even now. Use the inner voice. Hello, hello, who in here is listening to this? It's the part of you that listens. That is the safe haven or the kingdom of God within you. It's the place within you that is the seat of the observer. And when you can fall into it enough, you can move from a space of inner fortification as information and experiences are moving around you. Over time in our lives, we get disconnected from the inner observer, and the part that's talking takes over more control. If you are willing to practice this on a daily basis, listen to the voice, then become aware of the one who listens, and to the best of your ability, fall back into the comfort and safety of the inner observer. This is just one tool for creating inner fortification. Stay tuned in future times so that I can share more with you. And with that, I'm going to go look at all the opens that are here. And the first one that stood out to me was Maria Coppola. So Maria Coppola, if you are still here. Maria Coppola. Oh, Krish, yes, it's our souls. The one that's in there that's listening. I'm in full agreement with that. I love doing this meditation with people. And okay, Maria Coppola is here. I love doing this meditation with people, and they get surprised. They're like, I'm listening to me. And I'm like, yes, you are. It's a very sweet time. Okay, so Maria Coppola, we are doing emotional release, and this is based in many different theories. The emotion code is one of them. The body keeps the score is one of them. Feelings buried alive never die. And so, what we're going to look at today are any trapped emotions within your system at this moment that are ready to be cleared. And generally, they store themselves in our fascial tissue, but they can also store themselves in different organs and also the skin. The skin is an organ. So let's see what's up for you today for emotional release. I am energetically connected to Maria. I have permission to muscle test on her behalf. I have permission to muscle test trapped emotions that are ready for release today. There are 3 or more emotions to release today. There are 4 or more emotions. So there's 3 that we can get today, Maria. Let's see what they are. Emotion number 1 is on page 1. Emotion number 1 is in family 1, is in column 1, is currently on the screen, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is an interesting one. It's not necessarily an emotion you could say, but the first one that's coming up for you today is yelling. Does it resonate with you being yelled at and having something of that nature being trapped in the tissues of your body? Sometimes when we're being yelled at, the system doesn't actually know how to process it, so it doesn't choose to process it and it stores it instead. And this can also, it usually will manifest in the neck and in the shoulders around where we carry extra weight. And if we receive yelling of any form, it sits on our shoulders. It also can create the sensation of wanting to yell back and maybe having a desire to raise your voice because of not being heard, which is one of the side effects of, yes, Maria, awesome, thank you. When we don't feel heard in our inner being or are feeling like we're not being understood, our system will sometimes without even our control or awareness start to raise its volume in an attempt to be understood. So that's resonating. Thank you. All right. And let's go for the second emotion. Maria, does it resonate that is there tension in your neck and upper back? The second emotion for Maria is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in family 2, is in column 1, is currently on the screen, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, is 2. The emotion exhausted. All right, Maria, understood. Exhausted. Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of weight you're carrying. I'd love to work with you to see if we can lighten that load. What up, Arnie Layton? Yeah, definitely neck pain. I also want to ask you if you have any sort of physical practice that you do to be able to move some of that somatically. All right. And then the third emotion that we can clear for Maria today is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1. Is in column 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, is 2, is 3, is 4. It's the emotion scornful. I'm just writing it down for myself so I can remember it for the clearing part. Thank you for your patience, Maria. All right, Maria, you do walking. Beautiful. If I can encourage you to spend some time intentionally moving around, especially the neck and the shoulders, and you can even just do some of these. For me, these feel really delightful and delicious. And even just letting my arms move into some different positions that my body is not expecting. Oftentimes, when we get a trigger or we're feeling an intense emotion, Maria, it's really interesting how it affects the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. So let's say that there's a trigger that comes in. Usually, the body is actually the first thing to respond to it. So the body will have some kind of reaction, which then an emotion will start to flood. And then thoughts are the third thing that start to go in. And then the mind is trying to connect the feeling to a story of, oh, this, I'm feeling this way because this just happened, which might really be the case. And it's amazing to watch the mind grasp for just about anything to hold on to try to make sense of a feeling that we're having. I'm also curious, Maria, if you have any experiences of like emotions just kind of coming up out of nowhere, and then you notice that your thought forms kind of go into, like they may get stuck in like worried thoughts or frustrated thoughts. Something that I'm picking up on here is like slipping into thoughts of frustration, because some of what we're clearing today, both yelling and scornful, are in the family of anger. So what's trapped up here in the shoulders and under the ears is the sensation of feeling angry. And also I'm getting the sense of withholding a lot of what you may want to say, and then withholding, and to a point where you go to share it, but it's coming through a filter of having been repressed for a while. So when it does come out, the communication doesn't come through as cleanly or clearly as you'd like, and then feeling even less understood. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, the grief and the exhaustion. I understand. Thank you for sharing and then trying to heal. Of course, Maria, I just lost a friend I found out this morning. And just in this day, I've been going through these really interesting waves of feeling a lot of grief and then a lot of anxiety and confusion. And it's just day one. So we'll see what other stages my system wants to do just today, but also over the next few months. Maria, I'm curious, in the stages of grief when it comes up, um, how do you work through and process the anger stage? Have you met the anger stage of the grief process yet, Maria? Hi, Amy Jones. Maria, Krish says that she's sorry for your loss, or they're sorry for your loss. Yes, thank you. So many emotions. Yeah, so many emotions. Absolutely. My invitation is what I've observed in the grief process is that the anger and frustration aspect of loss is very nonsensical. And sometimes you don't even realize that that's what's coming up. It just feels like an overwhelming agitation at existence. So it's more frustration while driving. It's more frustration, at like spilled milk, right? There's just a higher level of quick to feeling anger because the nervous system is still dysregulated. So, my encouragement in the process of moving through the stages of grief is your anger is okay. And finding ways to be with like, whew, like there is frustration in my body. And the best thing that I have ever found to help move that or to be with that is moving my body. And as silly as this might look, Maria, if you're willing to try it at home where you are, I do this one a lot when I'm noticing a higher level of agitation and my nervous system isn't quite able to come down. I'll do this. So if you feel like doing that at home while I clear your emotions, because I'm going to go into that now. So if you just breathe and receive, and if you feel like letting some weird wiggles come out to help your body move some of that feeling, please do so. And let's find a replacement emotion. On behalf of Maria, there are replacement emotions for these 3 emotions. Yes. There are 2 or more replacement emotions. There's 1 replacement emotion. Yeah. Okay. I figured you guys probably want to see what I'm doing. The replacement emotion is on page 1. The replacement emotion is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1, is in column 2, is in column 3, is between my fingers, is 1, is 2, is 3. All right, the replacement emotion for you, Maria, is scream into a pillow. I love it. But the replacement emotion is delighted. I'm delighted. And actually, for me in my work, that one comes up a lot as a replacement emotion, and delighted by life. I'm going to try that and also scream into a pillow. I really support you. I'll scream with you from afar. All right. So on behalf of Maria, we're clearing these trapped emotions. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I clear the trapped emotion of yelling from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I release the trapped emotion of yelling from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I release the trapped emotion of yelling from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria, I release the trapped emotion of exhausted from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I release the trapped emotion of exhausted from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I release the trapped emotion of exhausted from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I release the trapped emotion of scornful from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I release the trapped emotion of scornful from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Maria Coppola, I release the trapped emotion of scornful from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the cellular DNA and from the ancestral DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. I request that these emotions be replaced with the feeling and emotion of delighted. I request that these emotions be replaced with the frequency, feeling, and emotion of delighted. I request that these emotions be replaced with the feeling, emotion, and vibration of delighted. And so it is. Maria, thank you so much. That was a real joy to work with you. I'm feeling a big pressure release in my chest as well after that. So let's check in. I'll let you guys play with me. Let's see. We successfully released the trapped emotion number 1. We successfully released trapped emotion number 2. We successfully released trapped emotion number 3. We done did it. All right. And after I release them, I choose not to use the words again, which is why I just numbered them. So before we go on to the next one, if you guys want to write in open again so I can make sure that you're still here, I wanted to share with you that I'm using the technique from the emotion code in the clearing work, and I'm running a crystal over the meridian of my head. And the meridian of your head, it's like clearing a magnet, basically. And I'm working by proxy because energy knows no time and space, and all energy work can essentially be done from anywhere to anywhere. And I'm using my body as by proxy and essentially clearing the magnet or the electrical current in the person that I'm working on and asking for very specific frequencies to be released. And in the process of discovering which emotions to release, I'm using my pendulum, which I'm just holding it, it does this. So Penji, show us yes. It's pretty much the same, but in my hand, it feels heavier. Show no. And show cannot be answered. Come back to waiting. So now based on this, you guys, when I'm muscle testing, I'll turn it down so that you guys can also play with me and see what's happening. And I'm feeling very called to Krish at this time. Krish, thank you for being here. And Mandy Johnson, I see you, boo. All right, Krish, let us play. And for this work, I'm using the emotion list from Byron Katie. I really like this list. There's so much on it. It's such a good treat. So if you guys feel like it, you can even Google search Byron Katie emotion list and see this emotion list for yourself. So Krish, here we go. I am Suri and only Suri. Okay. I have permission to muscle test on behalf of Krish. Yes. I have permission to muscle test emotions that are ready for release today. Yes. There are 3 or more emotions we can release today. Yes. There are 4 or more emotions that can be released today for Krish. Yes. There are 5 or more emotions that can be released for Krish today. So that was a no. I'm sure you guys saw it occur. And so let's see. Emotion number 1 is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in column 1, is in column 2, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The emotion that first came up, Krish, is the feeling of control or controlling. Ah, what an interesting feeling. Control. It makes me think of that song. Who do you, who do you, who do you, who do you, who do you think you are? Ha ha ha, bless your soul. You really think you're in control? Oh, the thing that I'm feeling come up is the relationship between fear and control. And the more something feels scary, there's a system that comes up inside of us that perceives that if we can control it, it's what will keep us safe. And when an emotion has been trapped in our body, Krish, it's interesting because it can work in both ways, where we feel controlled, and then as a byproduct, we attempt to control the things outside of us. I listened to, is that? My favorite song, because I think you're crazy. It's one of my favorites too. So Krish, I wonder if this is resonating with you. And if you'll do like a scan for me in your own body, I'm sensing it myself where it is. But more so than just telling you, it's really cool if you, Krish, would be willing to do a body scan to see where in your body the storing of feeling controlled and desiring to control a situation, a person, an outcome. And also, sometimes we exert control over ourselves to a point that our experience is feeling like stuck or stagnant. All right, let's look for emotion number 2. All right, Krish, thank you, sweet one. All right, let's see. Emotion number 2 is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in column 1, is in column 2, is between my fingers, is between my fingers is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the emotion that just came up is antagonistic. The chest and the solar plexus. Krish, that's where I was feeling it too. It feels like, especially, I feel my work has shown me that, like, as things are coming toward the heart that we don't trust, or it's hard to trust, this is a lot of where our control comes out from, the personality and the heart, because it's the most precious thing within us to protect. And so some of the protective mechanisms that come up to protect the gold, like the gooey, ooey goodness that's inside of our being, those protective mechanisms and the desire to control what can come in and what goes out can become extremely strong. Mm, thank you. This is Sierra. Thank you so much, Sierra. I'm glad that this is resonating. Hi, Jennifer Rose. Krish, do me a favor and breathe nice and deep into the whole torso. For this, the remainder of the work I'm doing with you, if you'll please breathe in such a way that you're feeling like more spaciousness is occurring in the entire torso, the chest and the belly. And also, your back and your lower back are all part of the torso. So as you're breathing, how much spaciousness can you experience in the torso? Antagonistic. It's a funny one. And sometimes I put antagonistic in the family of lower vibrating emotions that are secretly really pleasurable, like a weird kink, like when someone's been awful to you and your brain is like, oh my God, I came up with the best line to just like get them back. The part of us that actually would feel better if we got revenge on a situation, the part of us that would be like, oh yes, like it reminds me of a child. So sometimes when a child's nervous system is freaking out and they're getting frustrated, they'll hit someone and there's a momentary like release. It feels good for that moment because they were able to like shift the anxiety or shift the frustration. And so antagonistic is one of those feelings that is a result of feeling angry and maybe also attacked. And then this other part that is like, oh my God, it would feel so good to retaliate. And because most of us have a personality that will not retaliate, then it gets stored in the tissue. Also, if we have had someone be antagonistic toward us and we have not known how to process it, that's also what makes it get stuck. So I'm just writing it down. All right, let's get emotion number 3, Krish. And Krish, if sometimes it would feel good to retaliate or be antagonistic, I just want you to know I'm in the same camp. Sometimes when I'm really frustrated, I just listen to that little voice in my mind go off with all the things that it thinks would make it feel better. And I'm like, listen, we are not going to do that, but that is funny. All right, let's get the third emotion for Krish rather, excuse me. The third emotion is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in column 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this one with the kitty, vindictive. Yes, I understood. Shifting the emotion of anger. Mine is stored in the body. Yeah, absolutely. Just a moment, I got distracted by a feline. So vindictive. Vindictive is also an interesting one. I feel like it's very closely related to the Mr. Chip, the antagonistic sensation. And so vindictive, it's that same thing of getting some kind of enjoyment out of hurting someone or feeling like someone is getting enjoyment out of hurting you. And it can feel malicious if that's something that you have experienced receiving and not knowing what to do with. And also confusing when it's something that's coming up from inside of you as something that you may feel attracted to doing. And then in times in our lives when we have been vindictive or antagonistic, And then we have to carry like the shame and the grief and the pain from that experience too. So that one can get quite heavy. And still feeling right through the middle column here, like the tightness of these emotions. So I just want to acknowledge that. And yes, Indy Soul says hi to everyone as well. Good to see you, Kim Princess. I have been hurt a lot. Krish, let's get it out of your tissues. What do you say, babe? All right. So the fourth emotion that we have the opportunity to clear today is on page 1. It's on the left side of the page. Oh, that's right. I'll let you guys participate with the kitty too. Is in family 1, is in column 1, is on the left side of the page, rather, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, the emotion malicious. Krish, we get to release a lot of anger today. All of the emotions that came up for clearing today were in the family of anger. So I'm also curious, like, as you're moving through the world, I wonder how quickly you could even write this, but what do you perceive your relationship with anger is? And does it make sense to you that it comes in waves? And sometimes it's easy to keep down and at bay. And then other times it almost feels like the anger may come up and actually make you tired because your system is not quite sure how to process the anger, or not really even sure where to place it. And so it just is kind of sitting on the upper stomach and in the heart. I'm also experiencing this group of emotions to be strongly ancestral. So let's actually, if you're open to it, Krish, let's look at that. So emotion number 1 is an ancestral emotion. Emotion number 2 is an ancestral emotion. Emotion number 3 is an ancestral emotion. Emotion number 4 is an ancestral emotion. Okay, so the bottom 3, antagonistic, vindictive, and malicious, are ancestral emotions. Antagonistic is from the matriarchal line, patriarchal line, 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations, 4 generations, 5 generations. So 4 generations back on father's line is antagonistic. Vindictive is mother's line, father's line. Father's line, 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations, 4 generations, 5 generations, 6 generations. 5 generations back is vindictive on father's line. And then malicious is mother's line. Mother's line, 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations, 4 generations, 5 generations, 6 generations, 7 generations, 8 generations, 9 generations. So 8 generations, Krish, on mother's line for malicious. Yes, anger comes in waves. I'm exhausted and my nervous system is in disharmony. Hey, babe. I'm really glad that you're here and that we can do this work together in this moment. And the ancestral emotions, especially the further back they go, you can imagine that with each generation, it can amplify the experience of that. And it can also amplify the coping mechanisms that are developed over generations to try to cope with an existing emotion that's trapped and passed down through the DNA. So this clearing is for you, Krish, as well as for your father and his biological line, as well as for your mother and her biological line. Thank you so much for being here. And also thank you to the ancestors for being here to also be open and receptive to this clearing. So Krish, let yourself get loose. Keep focusing on creating openness in the torso, in the body of your system. And I will start the clearing now. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of controlling from the physical body emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of controlling from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA, from the cellular DNA, and across all timelines and dimensions. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of controlling from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of antagonistic from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of antagonistic from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of antagonistic from the physical body, emotional body, spiritual body, and mental body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of vindictive from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of vindictive from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of vindictive from the spiritual body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of malicious from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of malicious from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Krish, I release the trapped emotion of malicious from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. Shoo, 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 shoo. Krish, I haven't forgotten to get you a replacement emotion, so just give me a moment. For Krish, there are replacement emotions. There are 2 or more replacement emotions. There are 3 replacement emotions. So there's 2. The first one is on the left side of the page. In family 1 is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3. The first emotion of replacement is receptive. And the second replacement emotion is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, is receptive and free, receptive and free. On behalf of Krish, we replace these emotions with the sensation, vibration, and feeling of receptive and free. On behalf of Krish, we release these emotions with the vibration, sensation, and feeling of free and receptive. On behalf of Krish, we release these trapped emotions with the vibration, the frequency, the emotion, and the feeling of free and receptive. And so it is, free and receptive. Krish, you are welcome, sweet darling. We've successfully released trapped emotion number 1, successfully released trapped emotion number 2, successfully released trapped emotion number 3, successfully released trapped emotion number 4. Beautiful. Krish, thank you so much. And drink a lot of water and potentially get some good sleep. When anger is in the system, it's there for a few reasons. One reason is because anger is how we protect ourselves from being harmed. So if we've been harmed and we haven't felt protected by reality, by life, by parents, by friends, by lovers, then we develop really strong protective mechanisms that come up essentially to keep harm out. But over time, well, all it does is actually trap the pain inside and doesn't let good feelings come in so much anymore, and also inhibits us from being able to share more openly what our own gooey goodness center is. And it makes sense, right? Like if we get hurt enough, like we just close the doors and we're like, shop is closed. And that traps us though. And so I love that the replacement emotions were free. Like I feel free. And opening up again as best you can to being receptive, to receiving the beauty that the world has to offer you, the beauty that God has to offer you, the beauty that life has to offer you, and even receiving the beauty that you are. You have this beautiful honey nectar in here and you get to drink it, right? So letting it blow up and become stronger and more clear. The other thing that I'm sensing is forgiveness toward trespasses. So finding it difficult at different points to have forgiveness for the way someone had shown up or didn't show up, or forgiveness toward things said, or forgiveness toward things not said, right? And the greatest thing that I can bring forward right now is that forgiveness is like a fruit tree. And you cannot force your body and your emotional system to forgive something that it isn't genuinely ready to do yet. We can logically say, I forgive so-and-so, or I forgive this situation. But the actual tissues in the body, like if you see that person again, like everything in your body recoils, that's not necessarily forgiveness on every plane of existence, right? There's still something in the body that's like, whoa. So if forgiveness is like a fruit tree, the most that you can do in the process of actually coming to a deeper, like actual capacity for forgiveness is just by planting the seed and watering it. Just plant the seed. Okay, I'm going to plant the seed that I'm open to forgiveness. I'm going to water the idea. I'm going to water the feeling that I can come into letting go of the reasons that I've decided to close my heart off, and let the tree grow. And eventually the tree will fruit and it will surprise you even from the inside. You're like, oh my God, I actually am authentically in a state of forgiveness. And it's hard to say how long it will take that fruit to ripen. But I promise that if you plant the seed, it seems to always eventually fruit. And please, Krish, I love what you're saying. It's hard to forget. This is an important aspect, I feel like, as we move through the world, because it helps us have discernment. By forgiving, it doesn't necessarily mean that we forget, because it's the remembering that allows us to move forward with better discernment as we gain wisdom in life, so that we don't put ourselves in the same situations that caused the pain, or so that we can start to see the red flags sooner. So yeah, no one's asking you to forget, Krish. And sometimes holding on to those feelings, I love that phrase, holding on to like the anger and the resentment and the harsh feelings is like holding a hot coal, waiting to throw it back at someone. And the whole time you're holding it, you're only burning yourself. Thank you so much, Krish. It was a joy to work with you. Keep your spaciousness open in there, babe. All right. Let's see. Vivian, it's great to see you. Thank you for saying that this is helpful. And Mish Shelley, this is not necessarily kinesiology. It is emotional release. So I guess in a sense it is based in kinesiology. And I'm working off of my work with the emotion code and the body keeps the score and feelings buried alive never die. and those principles of how the body stores emotions and tissues. And then I'm using muscle testing, which is a form of kinesiology, or it's kind of usually grouped into the same thing, to figure out who's got what stuck where. Krish, I'm so glad. So I have time for one more, darling. And Mandy Johnson, you have not escaped me, darling. Not that you would want to. I actually have a really strong feeling you don't want to escape me. So you are still here. Let's play, Mandy Johnson. And Krish, you are so welcome. And I am so glad that you're starting to feel better. And may you plant the seed of forgiveness. And may I contribute my prayer that it fruits very soon so that you can harvest the delicious fruit of it. All right, Mandy Johnson. So first, let me make sure I'm clean and clear after my last work. So I am Suri and only Suri. That is my yes. And let me just pull up my emotion list and my notes. So Mandy Johnson, here we go, baby. Hiya. All right. What's up, Michael Zan? All right, so here we go. For Mandy Johnson, there are 3 or more emotions that we can clear today. There are 4 or more emotions we can clear today. So Mandy Johnson, we get to get 3 emotions. Mish, Shelly, yeah, come get some emotional release with me sometime. You can find me on Instagram at Suri Sawyer or surisawyer.com. I would love to work with you. Okay, Mandy, 3 emotions. The first emotion is on page 1. The first emotion is in column 1, is in column 2, is in column 3, is in column 4. Okay. Is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1. All right. Mandy Johnson, the first feeling that's coming up for you right now is nauseated. And so at first feeling, I'm imagining you have a really strong gut response that you don't always listen to as well as you might be able to. And that your stomach is most likely one of the, like, it seems like that's a very strong intuitive center for you. That sometimes goes ignored because the intellect doesn't match what the stomach is trying to say. Oh, no, that doesn't feel good, or like move toward that. And when we're not listening closely to that kind of intuition and we override it with logic or even the opinions of other people, that one's a tricky one because sometimes you'll be getting a really strong intuitive hit and the collective around you or the people around you are saying, no, it's fine. And so you kind of override your own stomach intuition to try to assimilate to the environment or try to make sense of things. So yeah, and I wonder too if like GI issues are something that come up for you more often than you would like, stomach aches or just like difficulty with digestion. Because I'm also sensing that like it wants more fire, like it needs more heat. And I'm not saying you necessarily need to eat like hot sauce, or jalapenos, but like heat can be created in a number of ways. Like ginger actually would be a really good one I'm sensing. And then also to bring heat to the lower body is to breathe in such a way that you're actually expanding and contracting the lower part of the body, because movement creates friction, which creates heat. So some of us, this is terribly sad, and I find myself doing it too, guys. When we're self-conscious about not looking thin enough, we suck everything in and up, and it actually is restricting our capacity to breathe and actually get oxygenated in a healthy way. But then the second thing that's happening is we're actually limiting the capacity of our digestive system, because when you let your belly move, when you breathe, you're massaging the entire digestive system the whole time you're breathing, which also helps to move things along in a quicker way. Yes, trouble with my stomach. Oh, Vivian, thanks, lady. Oh, wow, Suri, I love your assessment of the connection between the mind and the gastrointestinal system. Well, Vivian and fam that's watching right now, I will say, like, you can research this, but they're now proving that the stomach actually sends more impulses to the brain than the brain does to the stomach. And so, and they say, this is one brain, the second brain is the heart, and the third brain is the belly. And we give way too much credence to this one. It's a very important one. Don't get me wrong. We love the brain that's up in the head. And there's intuition and instinct that come from the stomach that are more in alignment with our actual capacity to survive and thrive. And think of it like any creature, right? Like the cat that's in my lap right now. This guy doesn't think too much. He's just straight up vibes, right? Like, look at this guy. But when it's time, like he just goes right into instinctual mode and he relies on this brain, his gut brain, and the instincts that are in his being and in his bones and in his blood. And he just knows exactly how to do what he needs to do. And it is amazing. So, Mandy, that's the kind of intuition that is in your stomach. And the more that you can get in touch with it, I really feel as though it will lessen the GI discomfort as well as get you into radical alignment with your higher self or your higher wisdom, inner wisdom, however you want to look at that. All right. So we are going to go into emotion number 2, Mandy Johnson. Is she ready? All right. Emotion number 2 for Mandy is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in column 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's the emotion furious. Furious. Honestly, what a good emotion. I think men and women may have this issue, but I observe it in a different way in women than I do men. But the suppression and pushing down of anger, because we just need to be pleasing all the time. We're like, it's not the right time to be angry, or I don't know exactly how to express this without then needing to take care of someone else's emotions. So I'm going to keep my anger to myself because I don't want to then be responsible for how I have to take care of you after I tell you how I feel. So intuition coming up, and then also followed up by anger. Mandy Johnson, I wonder if you ever know something intuitively, don't listen to yourself, and then feel angry. Let me know if that resonates with you. Furious. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Here we go. Emotion number 3 for Mandy Johnson. Emotion number 3 for Mandy is on page 1, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in column 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Mandy Johnson, it is the sensation of jealous. Jealous in the guts. Jealousy is a really interesting frequency and emotion. In a healthy form, jealousy is a feeling that can come up to indicate to you that someone else has something that you inside somewhere actually desire for yourself, which unto itself is a great thing to realize, right? If somebody's demonstrating something like, wow, that person is an incredible guitarist, part of me feels jealous that they're so talented at that. I'm getting to see from an inner state of being that that's a skill that I admire and that I even wish it for myself. So I can use jealousy as a motivating factor in either learning something, wanting to get motivated to learn how to do something better, and or come into what I call fluid humility and be like, wow, I can just really honor how much time you must have worked to get that good at that thing. And I'm humbled by the experience of seeing you in that way. Mandy, yes, I recently lost my mom, so looking after my dad. So emotions are all over the place. Thank you, Mandy. Lots of love coming in for you, Mandy, from Kim Princess and Krish. Whoosh. Big emotions. Also, with the frequency of envy and jealousy, it can be a really big block in us finding deeper enjoyment in our own life experience. Because whether you're feeling like envy is coming from outside or it's coming from you in the other direction, it really stifles our capacity to enjoy what we have, and also celebrate others for what they have, or the skills that they have. And Mandy is an Aquarius. And as we, so if, and jealousy inherently is rooted in comparison, right? And I really, 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 really love the sentiment that comparison is the thief of joy. It really is. Comparison is the thief of joy. Because when I compare myself to another and have the tendency to put myself above or below, I'm stealing joy from myself, but I'm also stealing joy from another. Like I had said before, sometimes people have something that is superior or better than what I have from my perspective of comparison. And how I can sit with that makes all the difference. If I notice, wow, like you have this big, beautiful mansion and like a fancy car, like, yes, congratulations. You must have worked very hard to get that. And also, the other thing I consider is that seems like a lot to be responsible for and to maintain. Super glad that's not my situation, right? So, like, there's these different points of comparison, and it's really important to get to witness when comparison is being a thief of our enjoyment. Ah, Mandy is a Virgo. Hi, sweet Virgo. Purity, purity, purity. So I'm going to grab the replacement emotions for you, Mandy, and we shall go from there. One more thing, Mandy. Thanks for staying with me. As I'm going to release these emotions, remember to keep breathing deeply into the belly. And this feels like it'll be a significant shift in the belly. I'm also inviting it, like I'm looking at, like, our stomach is full of sphincters, right? So like little openings and closings that stop certain material from going from one place to the next place inside as you go through all the different organs. And one of the sphincters, again, this is not medical advice, but I'm just looking that one of them seems sticky. And so if I also, I'm going to like soothe the physical while I'm doing this as well, with a special emphasis on clearing or flushing that sphincter so that everything processes more cleanly and clearly. And this is amazing. I'm so glad. So I just wanted to tell you that before I started. And please drink a lot of water, and you may have a lot of like bathroom use this afternoon. And I hope that it's really, or this evening, and I hope that you just really flush it all out. So replacement emotions for dear Mandy. Replacement emotions, there are 2 or more replacement emotions, so you guys can join me. There are 3 or more replacement emotions. There are 2. The first replacement emotion is on page 2, is on the left side of the page, is in family 1, is in family 2, is in family 3, is in family 4, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is 1, is 2. Okay, so the first replacement emotion is curious. curiouser and curiouser, darling. I love this emotion. I really feel like curiosity is the antidote to most things in life. When something's like super painful, being like, wow, I'm really curious about what's happening there. Or when someone behaves in a way that you're like, what? That's some weird behavior. I'm super curious about like what that's about, you know? I'm super curious about their inner functioning over there. It's a cool doorway. I'm curious about why flowers grow. I'm curious how my stomach works. And like, you know, maybe I'm curious about what yoga positions I could put myself in to open up my digestive system. I'm curious about how I could breathe that would bring more heat to my digestive system. All right. So the next emotion is replacement emotion number 2 from Mandy on page 2. On the left side of the page is in family 1, is between my fingers, is between my fingers, is flexible. Flexible and curious, Mandy. Happy, ha, so true. Just putting it in my notes. Thank you for your patience. Flexible. All right. Mandy, darling, breathe nice and big. Breathe into the chest. And let the belly also like get all big, and then exhale, let it collapse. Really let the breath move your digestive system. That's also going to help in the psychic work I'm doing on your belly. So on behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of nausea from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of nauseated from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of nauseated from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of furious from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of furious from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of furious from the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of jealous from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. On behalf of Mandy, I release the trapped emotion of jealous from the physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body, from the ancestral DNA and from the cellular DNA, across all timelines and dimensions, and so it is. Keep breathing for me, Mandy. As you exhale, imagine that the exhale is the vehicle to release what needs to be released from your body, from your stomach. And honestly, I would not be surprised if you were burping or tooting right now, but there's something moving. So let it out through a nice sighs. And we replace these emotions with the emotion, frequency, and vibration of curious and flexible. We replace these emotions with the frequency, vibration, and emotion of curious and flexible. We replace these emotions with the frequency, the vibration, and the emotion and the feeling of feeling flexible and feeling oh so curious. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Okay. All right, we successfully removed trapped emotion number 1. We successfully removed trapped emotion number 2. We successfully removed trapped emotion number 3. Yes, we done did it. Mandy, thank you so much. That was a pleasure to work with you. And Michael's in. Yes, breathing. Oh my goodness, it is everything, right? If breathing is consciousness, then the more you breathe, the more conscious you become. And then the different ways that you learn to breathe, each one enlivens a different kind of consciousness, right? Some certain kind of breathing brings the consciousness down into like a meditative sleepy state. Other breathing brings you up and gives you a lot of energy and heat. And there's just about a breath for every kind of state of consciousness. And then there is, Mandy, I'm so glad that you really felt that. So we're changing our consciousness by how we breathe. And if 90% of the time, most of us are walking around without putting a certain kind of awareness on our breath, what does that mean about our consciousness and where we are as we're walking around the planet, right? And breath work could be as simple as just sitting and being like, I am breathing in, I am breathing out, bringing more consciousness to the breath. So yes, please do more breath work. Krish, thank you. You are amazing, Suri. That was awesome. Thank you infinitely. And Mandy, thank you so much. That was amazing. Evelyn, no problem that you're late, but I am about to sign off in just a second. And I really appreciate everyone being here and the time that we get to spend together. Michael's in, call me sometime. I'll release you. I love this message. Loving this, Suri, release me. Presto manifesto, you're already released. So thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure. It's always a joy. Next week on the show, in 2 weeks on the show, I'm having a woman on who is a postpartum doula and also very strong teacher of how to intuitively communicate with babies, because she's been doing it her whole life. And that's one of the things that she teaches in her practice as a postpartum doula. So join me in 2 weeks to speak with Joy Bostrom. She's really amazing. And yeah, let me know if you guys would like more shows like this, and we can bring them more regularly, doing emotional clearing for the people. And with that, thank you so much for your time and your attention tonight. It has been a real pleasure to spend time with you. Have a beautiful night, everyone.